Hi, my name is Shahzeb Khan and you are watching the YouTube channel of Pakistan's People-Led Disaster Management. The subject of today's vlog is about earthquakes. Earthquakes are a devastating kind of natural disaster, and I can say with confidence that they are Pakistan's biggest disaster risk. The country is filled with fault lines from one end to the other. Earthquakes that cause damage happen here regularly, and every now and then a major earthquake happens that causes massive destruction across wide areas. However, people can survive earthquakes easily if they are prepared for it. And that is where Pakistanis, where we in Pakistan tend to fall short, because we tend to ignore the danger of earthquakes, and we often build structures without making sure that they can be resistant to the tremors that can possibly happen in the area in which it is built. This is something that we need to change. An earthquake of any size can happen at any moment, and it can kill people if they are not in a safe environment, an environment which is adequate for earthquake resilience. What we need to do is teach people how to survive, what to do when an earthquake strikes, because when an earthquake happens, survival depends upon the actions you take at the very moment, the actions you take in seconds, in a matter of seconds or minutes at most. And we have to make sure that all our infrastructure is designed in such a way as to make it as safe as possible for people when earthquake strikes. And of course, people have to know what to do after an earthquake strikes, because things will have changed a lot in an earthquake, and the environment afterwards will be much more dangerous, much more difficult to live in. So first of all, when earthquake strikes and people are inside or near a dangerous structure, what they have to do is drop, cover and hold. A big earthquake, it can knock people off their feet if they're running or walking, so people have to drop to the ground and crawl around if they need to move, so that they don't fall down. And they have to make sure that they are shielded from debris that falls from the ceiling or from tall structures. So they have to cover their head, especially the most important part, and they have to get under any sort of shelter that can provide them refuge from debris, that provide them protection from debris. Usually that is furniture like beds and chapais and tables. If people get underneath them, then debris that falls on the furniture will not impact them. And lastly, they have to hold on, because the earthquake can easily shift them from their place, and they might end up somewhere where they can be hurt, like their legs can get out from underneath the furniture and debris can fall on it and it can injure it, or it can happen to any other part of their body. So they have to hold on to whatever firm structure they can, like the legs of a table, to make sure they stay in one place, they don't get moved around by the earthquake. Now, this is no guarantee of survival, but it will maximize your chances. When an earthquake strikes and you're inside a building, you should not run outside, because as you're doing so, debris can fall down and hit you on the head, and it can break your back and you can die very easily. So this is what you need to do, and you need to have an earthquake kit ready. This is a supply box that gives you what you need in the aftermath of an earthquake. Now, one big danger in earthquakes is that a structure can collapse and people can be trapped inside the rubble. They might survive if they take the proper drop, cover and hold precautions, but they cannot get out, and remaining inside there for a long period of time is a very bad situation for them. That's why it is important that they have the supplies they need to survive while they're trapped in a collapsed structure, such as food, water, anything that can help them get out. What they need is to have a kit that contains all these things, and they, or better yet, several kits, and they need to place these kits in areas where they can, which they can access in case the structure collapses. That's difficult to find out because unlikely for you to be able to move around in a collapsed structure, but any area which you're most likely to be able to reach after a structure is collapsed, you should place a kit there. That kit should include, it should have clean drinking water in it, water that's not only clean enough to drink but also to wash your wounds if you are hurt. And it should have food, dried food, and it should have um, something with which you can communicate with the outside. It can be a cell phone, a radio that should be fully charged, or it can be something that you can strike against your surroundings so that the sound can make it to the outside, so that the rescuers can know where you are. Anything that can make a loud enough noise, and preferably should be something banging on the outside of the structure so the sound can travel through the solid. And of course, you should have medicine there, like medical supplies like band-aids and things like that. Whatever you think that you need. So this is what makes a good earthquake kit. And finally, you need to make sure that you are living in a structure that is safe, that will stand up, will not disintegrate in an earthquake, or at least will disintegrate in as safe a manner as possible for those who are inside the building. A lot of buildings in Pakistan are not seismic proof, are not earthquake safe. They're often made of concrete without metal reinforcement, like metal rebar. Many are made of stones, are made of adobe and mud and brick, and they can collapse easily. We need to start constructing buildings that are tougher than this, and that can be, and we need to start retrofitting buildings to make buildings that are already built. We need to start making them tougher. All of this especially in seismic prone areas. There are actually a wide variety of buildings that you can choose to, a wide variety of building types that can provide protection from earthquakes. You see this? This is a trailer. It's a small shelter, but people can live in it quite comfortably. Obviously, this will not collapse in an earthquake. It's made of metal and it's too small and light. So, this is a good place to live in if you want an easy way to find earthquake-proof shelter and just live in it in the event of earthquake. Or we can use this as shelter for people in the aftermath of an earthquake if all the buildings are knocked down. But you have to also realize that it's not just earthquakes that you have to take note of. It's every other risk that's in your area. A container like this trailer, whatever you call it, this is very vulnerable to natural disasters like floods and cyclones, because water and wind can easily sweep this away if they're strong enough. That's why it's not a good idea to live in a flood-prone area or a cyclone-prone area. Even if it provides protection from earthquakes, it will make you very vulnerable to all sorts of other natural hazards. So you have to keep that in mind, and you have to do meticulous planning to keep yourself safe from earthquakes and from any other risk. Thank you.